I have this fondest memory of like me and JY, like he did a section and I did one, and it was a really hard question and I got it correct. And I was like, I have arrived. And he's like, and Rahela, I skipped this question in 30 seconds.
Welcome to the 7 Sage LSAT podcast. I'm Henry, joined with Rahela, and we're here to chat, I
We
guess.
are here to chat about important things.
5 important things,
Five
actually.
important
Yeah,
things.
5
Which
important
one?
things. Maybe you could lead us in here. Rahela. What 5 important things, or what's the thing that ties all these together?
I think it's just going slowly and carefully, but also being diligent about time. I think it's kind of like an over-encompassing idea. Like fast is slow and slow is fast. That's usually my theme.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of that component to
Oh,
me.
I not to put you on this. I'm sorry, I just realized I put you on the spot way hard. These are like the 5 biggest mistakes you could make. That's what ties
You don't
ties
want
these
a
together.
deeper
Yeah.
answer than
Sorry,
that.
I feel like you're looking for some sort of deep answer. I would be panicking when I had that. That was not. We hadn't planned that, so I feel bad to
No.
just put you on
No.
the spot. But I think you're right. Yeah, like a lot of what we're going to be talking about could be reduced down to an element of,
Yeah.
if you try to breeze through, you're going to miss these things. And so you want to go slow and smooth so you can accomplish your goals. I guess, I don't know, should we do a rundown of the first 5, or should we just give it one by one and,
Hmm.
leave them in suspense, leave
I
5 to
think
be a
I think
suspenseful
leave
thing?
them in suspense always. You never know what's coming around the corner. So you've got to
That's,
stick around for the whole thing.
that's true. Unlike trailers nowadays, right? Where trailers, they give away everything.
Everything.
It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I hate that.
Same. Same. Spoilers too, they give away who dies. Like, why?
I know. You see the entire movie in a trailer. You always have to. I always tell myself, it's like, if I'm even remotely interested in the first 10 seconds, I try to pause and then be like, I'm not watching the rest of this. Well, we're just gonna I'm not watching the rest of this. I'll see this when it comes out. Note it down. Don't look at any trailers. All right, so let's go ahead.
Let's go ahead.
Never let them know your next move, as our
Never.
producer says.
Never.
Except for this next move, I guess you could say. Well, never let them know the move after your next move, because our first move, or our first common mistake, is translations. I feel like we talk about it all the time, but they've heard. I feel like I talk about it all the time. I don't know. What about you, Rahela? Do you talk about translations a lot?
I do. I think to me, it's a lot of people rush in, especially when the language gets difficult. So they want to rush in translating the sentence because I think human-wise, I have a theory, evolutionary, we're not designed for hard things. So sometimes we
Mm.
have to rush past of it, see if the answer choices can help us. And they're not our friends. You want to slow down and you want to attack anything that is difficult in a sentence. And so what's difficult to me is like abstract, conditional language, especially if it has none, no. Students tend to feel like, oh, this is hard. So you definitely want to slow down the word few. What about you, Henry? Like,
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, maybe like one of the things that makes translation so important is it's one of the not few things. There's a lot of things that could go wrong in this test, but mistakenly translating something on this test, it's such an easy thing to do,
yeah,
but it almost guarantees that you get a wrong answer, right? Where there are other things that you can do where maybe you mess it up, but you can still kind of happen upon the right answer. It's not a perfectly accurate thing.
yeah,
But this thing, it's a very simple, I guess I would say mistake you can make, and then making it almost guarantees that you're losing a point. And so it's really critical to translate well, but it's very hard, as you mentioned. And so when I think there are some very difficult translations to do, no is one of them. I mean, on 7 Stage, we call that like group 4.
yeah,
Not unless, not without. It's another pretty difficult one to do, only if, maybe to some extent.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I think those are tough to do, especially when they're abstract. So one of the things I try to always do is come up with an easy phrase
yeah,
where I know the like it tracks in real life, and I know what that means. So like no dogs are cats, right? It's probably 2 ways you could translate that, right? Like, if you're not a dog, then you're a cat. That's what a lot of students do. Are
yeah.
you a dog, Rahela? Am I a dog? I don't know.
What, what do you mean by that? Like,
Well, am I a dog, right? I don't know.
no,
Like
you're
if
not a
you
dog.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not a dog, right? So like
Yeah,
on account of that
yeah.
translation, that would make me a cat, but
Mm,
presumably I'm also not a cat. And so no dogs are cats is not if you're not a dog, then you're a cat. It's if you're a dog, then you're not a cat. And then you can once you learn that, I think it can help with that abstract, like the abstract ones where I don't know. I don't know. I always struggle in the afternoon with good examples of like what's some abstract terminology? Do you have like an abstract conditional you could fire off here?
No, it's to me, it's, always, like, really long sentences about morality. I think that
Mm,
gets people, and I'm like, "You know this, break it down to small pieces. What's the noun? Like,
yeah,
how is there any example that you can give? Take the no to the verb, right? Like, I always make people repeat the phrase, "What's a no? What's a none?" It's the verb is not, so find
mm,
verb. Put the not there, get rid of the no, and now read it. What's the noun? What's the verb? What's the predicate? And
sure.
now you have it. Is it slower? Yes. Of course, it's slower to do it a little bit here. But I always say, like, if you spend a minute, let's say you're slowing down because drawing is expensive, but how many times, Henry, for sufficient assumption, if we have the answer up front, we have it. So if I'm spending a minute in the stimulus, I can actually go be like, oh, this is right, that
Yeah.
missing answer, or this is the must be true, right? The chain. This is the first and the last. I can, this is the inference. I can go look for it. So that time, even though I'm slowing down, right, the noun, verb, predicate, that's kind of my spiel. You can then be fast in the answer choice. It's not just one way to be fast, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I love that phrase, take the note of the verb. I'm definitely gonna
Yeah,
steal that
sure.
because I have my own phrase for not without, which is drop the not and read it straight, or drop the not and turn the without into an arrow, or not unless, same thing. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal take the note of the verb, because you're right. It's like if you have the answer and it's sufficient assumption, or even it must be true, where you have a
yeah,
bunch of conditionals, it's like you'll be able to find that answer choice. Whereas if you don't have the answer, you'll look at all the answer choices. They'll all look pretty similar, I think, for the most part.
yeah,
They'll
they
look pretty close to one another.
yeah,
Might not be that helpful. And so, yeah, predicting where you're going to go, I think, is pretty important. I also like too that you can say take the note of the verb.
yeah.
Sometimes I think people give themselves like too many options for like how to translate a sentence. I'm always like just do it the same way every time, right?
Same.
So it's like
Group 3, there's 2 options. I'm like, "No, pick 1 and just stick to it and practice that and don't change." Because
yeah.
you don't want options on a test, you wanna stick to one that you do amazing in.
Yeah, yeah. If you need the flip or the contrapositive, you can just take the contrapositive afterwards. It's like you don't need to do predict what you're going to need first and then do the right translation right away.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll come with time, but yeah, I like that a lot. Which is just I like that you do take the note of the verb because that's what I do too, right? It's like
yeah.
what's the subject? The subject is not doing that thing. Um, okay. I mean, I don't know any other things to add about
Yeah, to sum it up, it may feel like you're slowing down translating things correctly, but it's important to not rush it because you'll actually save time overall. It'll be accurate and you'll save time. So spend that time a little bit if you need to translate because it's hard, and then go to the answer choice. What about you?
yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think that I have nothing to add. I think that was perfect. Slow down, do the same thing every time, have those little phrases that you can remember to tell you what you're supposed to do in a particular instance. I guess the next step we could go to
Yeah.
is this idea of being too premise focused or maybe too conclusion focused.
Yeah.
Maybe a little so you want to talk about that?
I often find that in like strengthening and weekend, students are thinking about the answer choice and directly answering whether something strengthens the conclusion or strengthen, weaken
Mm,
the conclusion. And I'm like, it can independently strengthen and weaken. It doesn't really matter. It
yeah.
has to first connect to the premise. And you have to do that because you're trying to strengthen and weaken the argument. And even like sufficient assumption, right? Like you're supposed to see how far you can conclude and then where the gap is. So if you're not thinking about the conclusion too much or just the premise, you're gonna miss the gap. So you have to think
Yeah.
of it like holistically. What do you think? Or
Yeah, I really agree. So, I mean, what I'm hearing you say, and I think what I've seen myself too, is that there's a lot of emphasis maybe on one that's like you're focusing on the premises and deciding like is this bad for this premise, is it good
Yeah,
for this premise, when really the argument as a whole, the premises are there to support the conclusion, and so something that like looks maybe bad for the premise might not actually be bad for the argument,
yeah,
or with the conclusion too. If you're just focusing on the conclusion, you're not actually looking at the structure of reasoning. And I think this presents itself like in like these study questions where
yeah.
they'll have a study and they'll draw some conclusion, and then there'll be an answer choice that says, "Well, actually, this other study
Yeah, yeah,
says
yeah.
that the conclusion's fault," right, or something like that. You
Yeah,
know, the
yeah. Yes,
something like that. Which I think, to some extent, I guess it maybe weakens a little bit, but it's not that great. I mean, because in real life, I mean, this happens in real. I mean, how unsatisfying is it when you get into a debate about with your friends and then you
yeah.
both Google or Chat GBT and you just start pulling up studies that support your own position?
Yeah,
You can always find a study that says something else, and so way better to do what you said, which is to like, how does this study support the conclusion? Can we break the reasoning up there? Um, so yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to not be too conclusion focused. I will say though, I do like remembering the conclusions to remember like big picture. I'm supposed to make this like less likely to be true.
yeah,
Right? I want to move more towards like either I'm neutral on this or I'm disbelieving it. Like
yeah.
keeping that in the back of my mind. Do you have any other things to add about like being too premise focused? Like, do you have other examples of people being maybe too premise or conclusion focused?
I think a lot of times they'll like for really hard questions, I'll notice it'll like negate the premise. And
Mm,
then like independently weaken or strengthen. And I'm like, well, if it's not talking about the premise, it's irrelevant, right? So if it's like out of scope, basically.
yeah,
Talking about, like, making this budget better. It's like, if you didn't make this budget better and somehow, like, there's
yeah.
language that's, does something to the conclusion, I'm like, "But look, if you actually look at the first part, it is irrelevant to the premise." So, I would say, like, I think we freak out and we wanna rush to the outcome. You wanna first always ask, how does it relate to my argument, to my analysis, to my premise? And then maybe, like, do the work and then, see where it goes before you want it to go a particular way. I
Yeah.
don't Sometimes we're driven by making it work rather than thinking about the argument as a whole because it's slower to do that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Instead of thinking about the way the premises are there to make the conclusion likely to be true, we just focus on the conclusion. So, like, yeah, there it is. I think that also brings up another thing too, which is I like that you mentioned this, which is that sometimes people will eliminate an answer choice or they'll say like this is completely unrelated or it just denies the premise. And I mean, many answer choices just don't do that. Right? It's like they're
Yeah.
talking about something slightly different. So it looks
Yes,
like it's a premise denial and
yes,
it's incidentally wrong, right? Because as you mentioned, if it's talking about something else, it's talking about something else. Um, we're talking about something else. And the answer choice then, I guess this is about to be a good lead into maybe our fourth point, but if
yeah,
it's generally speaking, if it's talking about something else and it's not really related to the premise, it's not going to end up weakening.
it's not.
Even though if it slightly looks like it's related to the premise, it's like it's not going to end up weakening or really even really strengthening the argument because
Yeah,
it's missing the mark entirely. But you should know that I mean there are a couple hard problems where there is a premise denial, and that's okay. Right? It's okay to pick
yeah.
that if you see it, but it's rare that it's kind of rare that you see that.
Yeah. The question I always ask to alleviate any such thing, especially for strength and weaken, is first, is there any way you can make it relevant? The bar is super low, so most answer choice should pass that. But that can allow you to think about does it connect to the context or anything else? It can start making you think about things. Okay, if yes, which is a low bar, okay, without looking at it, what would you think? And then
Mm,
if you end up going like, maybe, I would maybe think it strengthens. All right, if you don't love it, just don't eliminate it. I think then it allows you to think about the conclusion and the premise. You can break it into two steps. Even like flaw answer choice, if it's describing the premise, so many students will rush to the conclusion aspect. The next
mm.
part, I'm like, well, break it down. Is it describing the premise correctly? Why are we going to go look at the second part first?
I know we're maybe skipping point 3 here, but I feel it's kind of
Yeah,
a nice lead into the point 4, right? Where it's kind of like bringing in new info and whether new info is actually bad.
yeah.
Um, maybe I mean, you were kind of eloquently just talking about how it's related to the premise or not related to the premise. Would you be open to sharing a little bit about, like, what are the strict rules about outside info? Or I guess new information in the answer choice?
I think it depends on the question stem and how the answer choice is written as well. So for NA, I'm like, "No, you're
Mhm.
not allowed to go. Like, you assume this argument is valid, what has to be true, right? You're within the bounds of the stimulus." So you're not accepting new information. But strengthen, weaken, RRA, if you read the question stem, it tells you, right? If an answer choice, if true. So in this case, if they talk about a fourth study, we may want to see what it says in this
Yeah.
fourth study. If it says a computer model, it's maybe a projection that could be relevant. So you want to then think about it. And what do you think?
Yeah, no, I entirely agree. It's like
Yeah.
there are instances where it's like, oh, you'll hear someone say, "I'm eliminating this because we don't know that."
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, well, the question stem itself says, "Well, if this thing is true, what happens?" Right? So you're
Yeah.
right. We don't. I mean, I guess we couldn't know that from the stimulus, but we know it now, right? Now that we're here in the answer choices. The other times that I think it comes up too is, our again, our producer was mentioning this, and I think it was like a must be true question, and it had something to do with like addictive substances and the various qualities that had. And then there's an answer choice that talked about alcohol, and it says like if alcohol is an addictive substance, then X, Y, and Z. And the temptation might be to eliminate that answer choice because alcohol is nowhere in the stimulus. It's a
Yeah.
must be true question. So you think, oh, isn't this new information? The thing is, though, it's not really new information because the answer choice says, if alcohol is an addictive substance, and
Adding.
yeah, right. It's telling us that alcohol is an addictive substance, and then we know a lot of information about addictive substances.
Yeah.
And so there is actually information, or potentially there would be inferences that we could make about alcohol then. And so, merely that something is new. I mean, it just goes to say, just because the answer is new, that doesn't automatically or has a new term in it.
Yeah.
It's not an automatic eliminate. The question is just kind of, as you mentioned, back to point three. It's like, is it actually related to the stimulus? If they bring in alcohol out of nowhere and they don't say it's an addictive substance, then you'd say, all right, I don't need to deal with
Yeah.
this. But when they tell you that it is, then you say, okay, interesting. Let me consider this a little deeply.
Yeah. I've seen it again in like must be truths where the two premises are not connecting. And I'm like,
Mm,
we can't make any inferences. So, don't rush past any if statements. You should never be rushing past them anyways, but be especially careful because what if it makes them connect, right? So if we have all A's are B's and then all C's are D's, if it says, well, if all B's are C's, well, then all A's, now we can actually connect them, right? You're triggering that connection. And so it's okay, as Henry's saying, to go in the world of that sufficient. Ask, okay, what if this is true? Does it lead to anything in the stimulus? If it does, keep it keep it around. Even if you don't feel the best about it, see what else is out there. And over time you'll gain more confidence in those kinds of answers.
yeah. Yeah, it really is too. It's like over time you gain more confidence because you really do get a good sense
Yeah.
as you just practice more. And that's so much of this test. It's like you
Yeah.
start off, you make a ton of assumptions, you realize you really can't, and then so you stop doing it. But then you realize sometimes you are making some assumptions. And it's actually okay, right? Like it's okay in certain instances. New information might be fine, even if it might not be explicitly new, or even then it might be new.
Yeah.
And then you'll just get a better sense as you go with like what's allowed and what isn't.
Yeah.
I guess we should go back to
Number 3.
number three,
Yeah.
right? I just have 90% right is 100% wrong.
So this is like when I see this all the time, even for the best students, because you're going fast, you'll have a pre-phrase in mind and you'll start reading it. So let's say it's a flaw and it's like you saw a correlation causation. You're like, you know what? B's talking about it. And you start reading it and you're like, it has the terminology maybe flipped or it's not quite right, but it has correlation causation and nothing else has that. I feel like a lot of students will end up picking that answer because it's there or
Mhm.
and I think that's where like you're not I say, "Are you married to your pre-phrase to my class?" And I make everyone say no,
Yeah.
because you want to actually make sure you're evaluating each answer choice. You don't have to be omniscient, you know, um, to see every single thing, the first time you read it. So be flexible in eliminating something that comes close, but just not doing it.
Yeah. No, I entirely agree. It's like you don't need to be omniscient, and really,
No.
like in many ways, when you say correlation versus causation. That's actually you being like pretty measured.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm guessing what's going on in maybe some at least there's a couple of problems that I'm thinking about
Yeah.
where it's like a method of reasoning or it's a flaw and they're talking about correlation versus causation. There's like two answers that talk about correlation versus causation. And then one of them talks about how like two of the effects or two of the events are actually effects of the same cause, but it just doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to say
No.
that. Right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to say that. Whereas the one that's, of course, its answer is E, right? All the way down correctly describes it.
Yeah.
And so just being prepared to like, if you're making a preface, it's sometimes, I don't know, I find it's better to have an idea of what it could look like rather than to say like, this is what it will actually
Yeah.
exactly say,
Yeah.
because then you might get boxed in. And then the other element too is just to make sure that like 100% of the answer choice is right. Every answer as I pick,
Agree.
I'm
Same.
reading everything,
Same.
right? Where wrong answers, if I don't like something,
Yeah.
I don't have to read the entire thing. You don't have to read the entire thing. Just eliminate it. But a right answer choice, you should always read 100%, especially RC too. I feel like RC does that a lot where like the last couple
Yeah.
words really throw it off.
Yeah. I always say, like, what is your step? Your step is not, is it my prephrase, right? Your step
Yeah.
is like, per flaw, is it descriptively accurate? So every single word, when you actually read it, try to see if you can eliminate it because you have a bias to pick your prephrase.
Yeah.
Um, Also, like with English language, if I was an LSAT writer, I have a way to write causation without using causation.
Yes.
I can write, when things are happening or possibly, happening together, or even in like a more like subtle language, I can say that. Um, I don't
Yeah.
have to use those words at all, or maybe it's a flaw you haven't noticed. And you're not
Mhm.
gonna find it unless you eliminate that less half wrong one.
Yeah, I actually was about to say, it's like, I think that happens a lot in flaw questions where it's like, you see what the flaw is, and then you look at the answer choices, and then, like, nothing's written the way you want it to be written
Yeah.
or how you would expect it to be written, and then so you think, I'm wrong," but
Yeah.
actually you're right, but, like, one of the answers is just written it is your flaw, but it's written in a way not that you would expect it to. That happened to me a lot when I was studying, especially when I was trying to get, like a high score where it's like, "What?
Yeah.
I could what is going on here?" It's like, oh no, it's like if I see it, this is probably the if you're someone who's in the 170s, right?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you see the flaw, you probably have it right. And just
Mhm.
the answer choices are not written the way you'd like. If you're, maybe lower down, you've got a ways to go.
Yeah.
If you see the flaw, you actually might not be seeing the flaw, right? Well, you might like kind of what you said, the second component. There
Yeah.
might be actually another flaw in play here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, different score levels are probably going to have to take something differently from that, right?
Yeah.
I guess our final little tidbit here is timing.
Yes.
Talk about it. I mean, timing, it's
Yeah.
everything and it's nothing too in some way. I don't know. Is it
Yeah.
everything and nothing?
I
It's a
think
lot of it.
it's a lot of it. I remember when I first started studying, I think something that a producer said, students spending too long on early questions. That was like my problem. When I
Yeah.
first started studying, I wouldn't make it past question 19. And so the key there, and you can like jump in, Henry. For me, the key was learning enough of the easy patterns, right? So
Yeah.
first 1, 2, 3 star questions. What does a common pattern look like? So I can pick them fast and get to the harder ones, or maybe skip the hardest one. One of them I can skip faster. But I had to first get good enough to answer the easy questions and learn them really well, and then actually provided me a good foundation to be able to get the harder questions. So many students will come to like just the advanced class, just the hardest class. And I don't think that's the actual way to be fast and accurate. You have to learn the patterns first.
Yeah.
What do you think, Henry, for
Yeah,
time?
pattern recognition is everything. I mean, I think especially because like the first couple questions, I had the same issue as you. I really tried to make sure I was if I liked answer choice A, it's like sure, I'll just pick
Yeah,
it on question one.
same.
And it feels uncomfortable, but it's way more comfortable if you see like, oh, this is a phenomenon hypothesis. This is an alternative explanation. I mean,
Yeah,
how could this be wrong, right? Like, it's
yeah,
probably not wrong. Maybe there's a one in a million chance it's
yeah,
wrong. It's that one 5-star question where I've missed something, but it's probably not that.
yeah,
And it's way easier to get to a point where you feel comfortable picking an answer choice and not even looking at the wrong answer. You're still looking at the entire answer choice, right? Like, if you're picking it, I'm reading the entire thing, but saying like, yeah, this is seems good enough to
yeah.
strengthen the argument. even though I haven't read the other ones because I've seen this pattern before. And so, yeah, I think pattern recognition is a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to
Yeah.
conditional translation, learning to translate quickly
Oh, so
is
important.
a big thing. Yeah, it's just yeah, you don't want to be spending too much. The conditional questions, especially, can be huge time sinks, or they can be huge time sabers, depending on how quick you are at translate, how comfortable you feel with translation. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, just recognizing too that the easier questions, I'll say, uh, they're not really trying to trap you. It's like maybe trap
Oh,
you in to
yes.
to a person who's not studying the LSAT, but if you've been studying the LSAT, it's probably not trying to trap you. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry too much about it. Yeah, the other
Yeah.
timing things.
Also,
Trying to
like,
think.
let's say that you pick it, you read it everything carefully, and you still miss it. That's an opportunity to become like recalibrated.
Mm,
Me, that was like, oh, what part am I being too fast about? What
mm,
part am I not thinking about? And so I feel like making mistakes, we're so afraid to make it, to pick and go. But mistakes are an essential component of learning about. It's not a stupid mistake. I may have seen the word many and I didn't want to think about it. That's why I missed an easy question. A bell rang in
yeah,
my head. Maybe this is not quite like quantifier is supported, or this verb or this noun is not quite the same thing. And instead of investigating, I may have rushed that. So
mm,
listening to that bell, right? That one that rings, in your head, or when you look at the stimulus, that's an essential component of becoming better. So I
yeah,
actually think it's good to pick and go, especially on the earlier ones, learn the patterns and be comfortable making mistakes and then learning from it. Like, what is
yeah.
the solution? And also, as Henry's saying, be okay with that one and one every two PTs, you're gonna have a silly mistake. But it should be like one every two PTs, you're missing an easy question, not like two every section. I think that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's kind of what you're saying here, and I love that you're bringing it up. It's that if you don't push yourself to be
yeah,
aggressive, you'll never know what that hypothetical line is.
yeah,
Right? You'll if someone who's 100% careful on everything, yeah, they're gonna get all the easy questions right. But they're gonna be putting so much more mental effort than they really need to be. It's like, whatever, it's
oh,
go
yeah.
you're using full power to lift 5 pounds, and it'll always work, but you
Yeah,
don't need to, right? It's like you don't
yes,
need to, and the only way to tell is, like, what happens if I go 60% power,
yeah,
50% power? And, you're gonna find that line at some point. You'll be, "Okay, that's my line," right? It's
yeah,
this is the level of care I need to put, or how the level into looking at every answer is, or this is how sure I really need to feel on the first
yeah,
answer is for me to just pick and move. And yeah, I think that's it. So I guess we could sum up. Any do we am I missing? But that was five, right? Translating, premise, focus, strict,
yeah.
timing.
That's five,
Yeah, it's five. Okay. I
five.
don't know. Do you have a secret six one? Back pocket. Not to put, I'm putting you on the spot again. I don't know.
um, Not a secret six one, but like I guess with time management, like don't lose like the war for the battle, right?
Mm,
The one thing I can think about is thinking too much time in for a question that, you know, it's gonna take like a 170 and up to get correct. Like I have this fondest memory of like me and JY, like he did a section and I did one. And it was a really hard question and I got it correct. And I was like, I have arrived. And he's like, and Rahela, I skipped this question in 30 seconds. And I was like, this is
yeah.
amazing. And then he goes, and if you did this question, you probably have a worse score than me on this section because it'll take a long time to get this one correct.
Uh,
And he was right.
well, yeah,
I
classic. Yeah, of course.
sacrificed 2 questions to get this one, and so skip the hardest one, like, learn to skip it really fast in under 30 seconds.
Yeah,
It should be 1 question every section, you should be skipping it under 30 seconds at least. What about
yeah.
you, Henry? Did you have a rule like that to help you be okay with things?
Yeah, I mean, I never really skipped, to be honest. I
It's
think
too
I
hard
probably
to
should
do.
have. I no, but I mean, you're right though. It's like
Yeah,
I think skipping and knowing when, like,
yeah,
if the question is beyond your reasonable time capabilities,
yeah,
then it's definitely worth it to skip through.
yeah,
I for me, I think I just played the first 10 much more aggressively
yeah,
when by a test day that I was like, I have enough time, right? Where
yeah, yeah,
it was like the first time we're done so quickly that I was just like, okay. Even if it takes me 3.5 minutes to do this, we're still ahead of the curve here in terms
yeah,
of time.
Did
But
you have round 2 then? Because I always had round 2 times. I would
oh yeah.
and then I would spend that 3 minutes, but I'm not prioritizing a question.
I
That's
think
how
for me,
I do it.
psychologically, it felt wrong to skip. Like, cause I was like, yeah, I was like, and maybe I probably could have worked on that too, right? Where it's like either way is gonna be okay. I think
Yes.
when I would skip, I would just kind of keep thinking about the problem. It
Ah,
was just say like I would come back to it too,
yeah,
but at least I would settle on something, right? I would say like, okay, this looks reasonable enough.
yeah,
I feel decent enough about this. We'll keep on going, and then whatever will come back towards the end. But yeah, I would always do a second pass. It's funny though. I would usually actually do my
yeah.
second pass on the first 10 because I would play them
I
really loose. Well, because I was playing it really loose. Like
yeah,
I would do the first 10 probably a little more recklessly. I don't even know if it was reckless. I felt pretty good about it, but
yeah,
I would actually usually catch like, okay, this is actually wrong, and then I'd have to swap this. It
yeah,
ended up being fine, but I mean, that's a lot of this is just like you're going in with a strategy,
yes.
right?
You
I
have
had my
you have
strategy,
to
you had yours.
but you have to have some form of timing strategy. So, like,
Mhm.
Henry has, "I'm a little loose, right? I'm a little faster, and I'll come back." And I didn't. I was just like, "First 10, right? If I have to skip it, I'll just skip it." Like, something went wrong. Like, there'd be one question maybe I'm flagging in here in the first 10. And I probably never came back to anything. But you have to have a timing strategy that you practice that allows you to win the section. You
Yeah,
really do. And I think that's I've seen students think like 6 minutes and then miss a question, and I'm like, that three-star question that you had to rush at the end, a
yeah,
couple of questions here and there, and you would have entered into 170.
yeah.
That's all you needed, like, to not do this 7-minute question.
Yeah, not to get bogged down. So,
Yes.
but in I think the to take from that is like this only works if you know ahead of time what you're going to do in a particular
Yes.
situation, right? So whatever you choose, that's fine. Just know, have that plan. So when you hit that 5 minute question or that really hard question, you're not like caught lacking. Is that the term? I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
caught lacking.
Rushing, right? Or caught
Yeah,
making all those, like, fast mistakes that we were talking about because you're trying to do, like, 4 questions in, like, 5 minutes, the last one. That's too much.
yeah.
Um,
Sixth mistake is not studying with Seven Sage. Okay, thank you. Producer Eric. It's true.
it's
That's
true.
actually mistake number 1. We have to bump bump
I
bump
made
bump everything up 1, yeah.
I'm not gonna name the company I started with. They they're and they told me that you should write down the lowest. Who has the time in 35 minutes to write down anything? Of course, I wasn't getting to the 4th sec
Yeah, that's
4th
crazy.
passage, yeah, so, like, when I came to it's like, "Oh, you're supposed to do this in your head."
Yeah. A lot of this is in your I don't know. I mean, it works for
I'm
some
glad
people
I
though, you
switched
know?
yeah, I'm glad I switched companies because I was not gonna make it in 35 minutes. Yeah,
Alright, so I guess we'll wrap this up. Like, comment, subscribe, right? Or did that come first or last? It's been a while since I've done one of these. Um,
it's all you, Henry. It's my 3rd
well,
time.
it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. It was great to see you.
Yes,
Let's do it again soon. Check out Seven Sage's other services, not
please
you,
do.
but listener you. We've got plenty of good services, live classes, tutoring,
Courses,
courses,
admissions,
admissions,
they're really good as well.
uh, all sorts of great things. Yeah,
Friends, I made friends there too,
friends.
so, like, study with friends, check out, the discussion board, answer
Yeah,
questions.
keep our jobs for us, please. It's like yeah, exactly. Like, keep us employed, please. Um, if for nothing else, right? You can do it for that reason, and yeah, I
Also,
guess.
because we're really good.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
that too.
Henry
That's
is really
yeah.
good.
I
Henry's
am I don't know. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Yeah,
I only met him 2nd times, just kidding.
yeah.
No.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the future.
See you in the future. Bye, guys.
Peace.